June is Pride Month, and I realized we've never done anything on the channel to celebrate that. Now, over the years, this channel has become a kind, supportive, inclusive community that welcomes everyone. So in today's tutorial, I'm serving up a joyful rainbow-themed painting that is perfect for Pride. Hi guys, welcome back. My name is Shayda Campbell, and today we are going to do this beautiful rainbow wash of color and then create a sort of negative image using white gouache. So I'll start with a quick supply rundown. We're using a piece of hot pressed watercolor paper or cold pressed. I've got it taped in place. Now the tape will keep it from buckling, and it also creates a nice white border. I've used washi tape here. It's a paper tape that peels off of the page really nicely. You'll also need a paintbrush. I'm using a number 8 Zen round brush. I'll link something similar in the description, but you can use any size brush that you think would be appropriate for the size of wash that you're doing. And then I have a simple palette of watercolor pans with a lot of just primary and secondary colors. You can mix the paints ahead of time if you feel like you need to, but you can also grab them just straight out of the pans. It's nice to have some paper here for blotting, and then 2 glasses of water, one for cool colors and one for warm colors. Now let's get into the first part of our project, which is the rainbow wash. I'm starting with a nice cherry red across the top, so I've got a lot of pink in there, and I think that really makes the rainbow pop. And from the cherry red, I'll go into a darker orange. So you can see how I kind of blend and bleed these together. I'm using lots and lots of water. You want the paint to be very watery for a wash like this, and that will help with the blending process. And from the orange, I go into a golden yellow. Make sure that your yellow is a little bit dark because since we are laying white on top later, you don't want it to get too light. Then I'm going to lay down a lime green and then an emerald green. So I've got 2 shades of green. You could double up on any color. You can add as many or as few colors as you like. And then I decided to go back and add just a little more green in the middle. So if at any point you feel like any portion isn't dark enough or defined enough, as long as you're moving fairly quickly so that the colors don't dry, you can always go back in. And then I've got the blue and the purple along the bottom. A few final tips for the wash. If a portion is too dark, use a dry brush to kind of lift a little paint. Make sure you go right to the edges so that you get those nice clean lines when you move the tape off. And you can always add a little bit of darker paint to the corners just for a nice look. So now we are going to let that dry. It does take a minute, but let it dry, and we'll mix up a little bit of white gouache. So I'm using a smaller round brush, just a dollar store white gouache, a palette, and clean water. And gouache is a very opaque water-based paint. So what you do is you squeeze a little out into your palette. It's the consistency of toothpaste, and you begin to add lots of water to it. You want it to be the consistency of a thick soup. So you don't want to use it straight out of the tube. You need to mix water in, and you can see me doing that here. Gouache is really beautiful to work with, and it's wonderfully opaque, but you could also use acrylic paints for this step. So what we're going to do now that this is dry, is we're going to do a painting of a flower, and we'll do it in white so that it looks like this wonderful rainbow sun print or something like that. Sorry, my head sort of got in the shot here a little bit. I like to get really close to the page when I paint, especially when I'm doing little details. And I am just painting 2 medium-sized 4-petal flowers. You can see me painting each petal one by one and sort of making sure that all the petals come to a point in the center of the flower. And I'm not worrying too much about their overall shape. I just want them to look nice and free. I want to make sure that the white gouache is in fact nice and opaque. So if you're getting too much page showing through, you can add a little more paint to your mixture, or you can just continue to build it up in layers. Now I am using a slightly smaller brush. This is a number 1 round brush, and I am adding a little curving thin stems to each of the flowers, and we'll have them join here in the bottom. And I'm going to add some leaves as well, but I'm just doing a really simple floral design. And like I said, it's kind of a negative image because we've got the color in the background, and then we're doing just a silhouette, a white silhouette of a beautiful wildflower. So here I am just just adding those leaves, and I'm just sort of working out the shape of them as I go, kind of moving the paint outwards. And if you would like some extra videos on how to paint flowers and leaves, if you're a fan of the channel, you probably already have seen so many. That's my favorite subject, but I will link extras in the description as well in case you're new to this channel. And go ahead and take a minute to subscribe if you're new here. So I'm just finishing up. I'm adding extra layers of gouache if there's any thin spots, if there's any areas I can see through. And that's my basic design. Now what I want to do is use that same little brush that I use for the stems and add in maybe 3 or 4 smaller flowers. And I'm going to start by adding one down here on the left. I feel like this is just going to bring my floral design to life. And I'm going to add a slightly larger one up top to give the design a little more height. I kind of created it a little low on the page, and that's fine, but I just might want to balance the whole design out a bit more by giving it some more height, taking this design up into the warm colors at the top here. And then when that is all done, you can remove the tape. Tell me that this isn't the most fun thing you've ever seen on YouTube. I'm just gonna make satisfaction videos about taking tape off of paintings. You get this beautifully crisp, clean line, and it looks so nice and polished. And I just think this project has such good bang for your buck. It's simple, it's fun, and it looks so beautiful, and it's perfectly lovely for Pride. And then across the bottom here, I wrote Happy Pride, just did it in pencil first, went over it a couple times, made sure I was happy with the shape of each letter, and then I'm using my Pigma Micron. This is the 08, so the larger nib, and I am just going over a nice whimsical cursive font here, or handmade font, and I think that looks nice just like that. But if you would like to do a sort of faux calligraphy or fake calligraphy, you can thicken the downstroke of each letter. So any portion of the letter where you're pulling the pen in towards your body, that's where you're going to thicken. And then of course you can color those portions in, and it gives this beautiful look of modern calligraphy. And then all that's left to do is erase those initial pencil lines on the lettering, and this rainbow artwork is all done. Happy Pride! Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon with a new tutorial.